Hey everybody, welcome to Real World with Julie. I'm Julie. If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel and subscribing to our podcast on all streaming platforms. And make sure you also follow us on social media because we've got some cool stuff going on there. We are so glad to have you. And if I did this correctly, all these links should be below to make it easier for you. Like I said, we're so glad to have you. Hope you enjoy.
Okay. Funniest. I don't really get this. Okay. Funniest movie that you've ever seen.
I don't know, because I don't watch a lot of movies.
Oh, okay. So funniest movie / TV show.
I
don't actually know.
I don't either, because I don't.
What about favorite? Yeah, let's
my
do
favorite movie. That probably Harry Potter.
The series, or do you have like a specific one?
So last night it was funny because Austin and I were we weren't arguing. We were having a discussion about which movie to watch because we only have time to watch one movie. And I was like, well, the fourth movie is my favorite movie. I don't know why.
He's seen them before, right?
Yeah, he's seen them all. He's read them in German, all that stuff.
Because he's fluent in German.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
We ended up watching the first movie because we decided that was like the most magical of the movies.
Okay. So I've never seen any. Well, okay.
I think the fourth or the fifth movies are my favorite.
So,
overarching, like you have to remember, I have a degree in English, but and I took a Harry Potter lit class in college. I think just the whole series as a whole
is very
like she built that world from scratch. Now, do I like J.K. Rowling? No, I do not.
See, I've never actually read them, but funny story. How many are there? Like,
there's 7 books.
Okay, how many movies are there?
8. Well, there's more than that because they have all those.
Well, what's the one where you find the person dies? That main man dies. Harry finally kills
Voldemort?
Yes.
The last one.
Okay. So keep in mind, I've never read these, never watched the movies, never been into them. So at the time what movie was that? 7?
Yeah, what was the 8th movie that Voldemort finally dies?
Okay. In the 8th movie, which was like the big shebang that everybody, when it came out, the guy I was dating wanted to go see it. And I didn't really want to go, but there was no other movie on, and we were in high school. Like, there was nothing really to do. And so that was the only movie on. So I went with him, and I watched that movie having known nothing. And I'm like, so is this good that he finally dies? Like, did I ruin the series for me? Like, but I mean, it was, even though I'd never seen any of them, it was like very, what do I say, like intricately done. And I've never read the books. I did read the Twilight books because that was a thing when I was, and those were good. But I don't know how they would, Anyway, but then I started this family that I babysat for. They loved them. And so they would literally watch them over and over, along with Aquamarine, which we had to stop watching that because at one point they say, oh, my God, and one of the kids started saying it. So we had to pause on Aquamarine. It was hilarious. And if these kids are watching / listening to this, they are dying laughing. But so I started watching them with them, and they really weren't bad. They were actually okay. I just never really got into them enough to like watch them outside of me babysitting.
I think,
but I've heard the books. Like, I remember when I was in elementary school, because that's when they started coming out. There was this kid who is probably never going to see or listen to this because I don't even know what, But anyway, I remember him bringing the books to school, and he would get in trouble in class because he read them all the time.
Like, I read them under my desk.
Yes.
And I hate math, obviously.
I mean, I hate math.
So I would hide my book, my Harry Potter book. This is before the age of Kindle, y'all. I'm old. But I would hide my book
I don't even have it. I would
under my desk and read in math class. And my math teacher, Miss Green, I will never forget her.
I had a math teacher named Miss Green.
She was about 4 feet tall, like literally. She had to stand on a step stool to teach.
So she was in Harry Potter.
And she had a megaphone to teach with because her voice was so low. But she would call my mom and dad at least once a week and be like, Danielle's reading in class again. This is why she's failing. And they're like, well, what do you want us to do?
Like, I used to get in trouble for talking. But that's kind of how I was with Twilight. Like, it was there was also a new book. Speaking of books, off topic again. This episode might get broken in half. But the book Verity.
Oh, that book.
No, that book. I read that book in one afternoon.
I did
that
too.
book
mess with your brain.
That book is what. for those of y'all who have not read this book, I would say it's by that late
Colleen Hoover.
Colleen Hoover, which a lot
I
of her
don't
books,
love her stuff, but that book.
Right. So I don't read a lot. Because a book like Verity, I literally can't, I become obsessed. Part of ADHD, like
it's my life for that time period.
Exactly. And so like, it's kind of all I can think about. I will literally not do stuff just to read. And also it's very hard for me to get into books, but that book, so for those of you who haven't read it, it is one of her, I would say, I haven't read her other stuff, but I would say it's more mature.
Yeah, all of Colleen Hoover's stuff you really...
Well, there was one that I started about, I can't remember, but this one, like this one seems maybe a little more because of the very first sentence is a lot.
It is. I think a lot of Colleen Hoover's books are more mature. So like
this one, I would say based on part of what I read in the other one, it was more like sexually mature.
Yeah.
This one's
like more like mentally mature and very graphic.
And I don't know if younger people would handle Verity the way that I did as an adult. Yeah. And like my friends who have read it, like they have kids and stuff.
I had nightmares after reading that book.
This book.
And I've read some messed up stuff before, but that book gave me nightmares.
So yes. So if you're watching this and you have not read Verity and you are younger, I would say even teenager, maybe ask your parent. Like I really don't know. Like
I'm always for like not censoring books because I'm a big reader. I have a TikTok channel about reading books.
But this is like
there's sexually graphic and then there's like
this is
like disturbing.
That book, just thinking back to it, I'm like, how did it take me on that roller coaster? Because like now thinking back to it, it's like, because I don't ever mentally go there. That book it messes with your mind, but it is a good book.
It's really good.
The writing like that, I had heard people. And sorry, I'm pausing for a minute because I lent that book to my friend who recently died. And so, sorry, you guys, I'm trying not to get emotional. And he still has it. Well, anyway, but that book is one of those books where it was a page turner. Like, I'd seen people write about it. And at first I was like, this is stupid. But then it is a roller coaster. But, like, have you read The Silent Patient?
I feel like I have.
So that's a book that my mom and sister told me to read because of Verity. And I listened to it. And you need to read it. That book is wild.
I've been reading, I read a lot. But this past week, I've been listening to audiobooks.
I love audiobooks. So where do you listen to them?
On Audible, because I have that Audible subscription and I had a bunch of credits that I needed to burn.
That's the thing, though, is like with Audible credits, you have to buy the book still.
No, if you have a credit, the book costs a credit, so you just use your credit to buy.
But how much are credits?
I don't know, because I just pay for it. Here's what had happened. I was wondering. I kept getting emails that I was getting Audible credits, but I wasn't paying for Audible. Like I put my subscription on pause.
Prime.
Well, I had like an Audible Unlimited subscription, so I got a credit or 3 credits every. I don't know how many credits I got every month, but I paused it, and it wasn't coming out of my bank account. So I was like, how do I keep getting credits? Well, last week I went on Amazon. And I went through my transactions, and a certain person who broke up with me last summer, their credit card was on file on my Amazon account, and it was charging him for my Audible subscription, and I feel so bad.
No, you should not feel bad.
But I took it off of my Amazon account, so he's no longer paying.
If you're listening to this, which that would be wild if he is,
it would.
She should have left your card on her Amazon.
I am very sorry that it was charging you. Didn't know.
I'm not sorry.
Also, for my Kindle Unlimited subscription was also getting charged in his card. So, oops.
She feels bad, but I do not. I think it's hilarious.
I fixed it. But I
okay. Yeah. Wait. Let's rewind. If you're listening to this, stay tuned. But I'm not sorry. You deserved it. Anywho, we're not gonna.
Yeah, I took his whole credit card off of my Amazon account, so there's nothing else going to be charged.
She is a really good person.
I'm not that good because I did have a momentary thought where I was like, I could just check out with like everything. You know how you put things in your Amazon cart and you don't actually buy them? I was like, I could just check out I know what the limit is. I could check out my whole Amazon cart and there would probably still not be noticed.
If he is listening to this, just know that if I would have known about this, I would have absolutely run it up.
But I didn't. I took it off.
And then might have sent him something funny. Kind of like what I gave you for Christmas. Sorry, inside joke.
I still have those. They're in my gift bag in my guest room.
Oh, I hope you still have them because I don't know why you would need. Anywho, okay, what have you been listening to book-wise?
I just finished Stuck in the Suburbs. I don't really remember the title of it, but this girl, her husband was cheating on her husband was a lawyer and he was cheating on her with his secretary or like admin or whatever. And she walked in while he was
cheating,
pleasing this woman.
Oh my
and
God. Did it not result in murder?
See, that's what I was thinking. But they both like pretended they saw her and then acted like she wasn't there and she just left. Well, she ends up divorcing him, as a woman should.
Correct.
And her great aunt dies, and she inherits her great aunt's house. It's in like this fancy neighborhood, but it was like grandfathered into the HOA because the HOA was established after her grandma built the house.
Oh, an HOA
sucks. But then since her grandma gave it to her in her death, it doesn't continue being grandfathered in. So she has to fix all this stuff.
So kind of like on Friends, where Monica is grandfathered in to the apartment fixed rate because of her grandma.
Oh, I haven't watched enough Friends to know it.
Okay, never mind.
But she has to fix all this stuff, and she's trying to figure out how. And she ends up meeting the neighbor from across the street.
So it's almost like a Hallmark movie.
See, I don't like Hallmark movies.
But I mean, is it lovey? Is it romantic?
It's a rom-com book.
Oh. See, I'm not big into those. I
just like a happy ending.
I like reading so one of my undergrad degrees was in religious studies. Now in that, yes, I am religious. I'm a Christian. However, I took classes about different things. And I like psychology is my thing. We all know this. Psychology is my thing. So I took classes where they talked about like different religions. One was about cults. And so I have books I've read. I love books about like cults. I know all about Scientology. I've read so many books. I've actually read like the Bible, quote unquote, for Scientology, and it's hilarious. I like stuff like that. There's this writer, I can't think of the name right now, where he talks about, it's fiction. I'm doing air quotes for those of y'all listening via podcast. It's fiction, but it's like stuff that's actually going on, kind of like, so for example, like one of them was about like, he didn't use the word Illuminati or anything like that, but it was like about certain like dark secrets, and he goes into depth about them. And it's a whole, like I feel like it's written as, there was one book that I feel like is written as fiction just for his sake. I'm not necessarily talking about that being the Illuminati, but like, and like Catholicism and like the Pope and like stuff that's not really here.
Oh, are you talking about Daniel Brown?
Yeah. Dan Brown.
Is it Dan Brown?
Yeah.
It's not James Brown. James Brown's a singer.
He has the whole,
the whole thing. Good.
But there was one about
the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's one of them. But there's a certain someone told me, like, put me on to him. But there was one about finding like an actual like the Book of Secrets or something, and it was like, I didn't like that one, so then I paused. But the thing is, when I get into a book, it's hard for me to put it down, so it's like I should probably be doing something more productive.
That's me, and I'm big on series, so like I'll read a 3-book series in 2 days, but nothing else gets done.
See, that's
what did I eat? I'm not really sure. Right. And like while I'm at work, all I can think about is getting home to read the book.
And so it's like, yes, reading is good and it's healthy, but it's like when it becomes an obsession.
You make a TikTok channel.
Oh, well, welcome to, what's your TikTok channel? Say it.
Danielle Reads a Lot.
Danielle Reads a Lot. There's a Instagram. See, I don't use TikTok very much at all. I posted one video the other day and it got like 15 likes and I was like, yeah. You might not TikTok, but there's a girl I follow on Instagram who talks about horror movies.
Oh, see, I don't watch horror movies
because I like psychological thriller.
I like psychological thriller books. I don't want to see it on the screen.
Also, so I see a lot of stuff in person. Like when I'm running calls, I see a lot. But for some reason, there is some gore. I don't necessarily love gore. I like but for some reason, I can handle it in person. Like I said, I see a lot. But for some reason, when it's on a movie, certain things I'm like, oh God, like I can literally stitch myself up. I have plenty of times, you know, blood, but it's like, for some reason, sometimes on movies, I also don't like fights and like, I don't, it's very weird. We got way off topic. And for those of you who, this is
a normal day with us.
Yes, welcome to a normal day. So yeah, okay, wait. Favorite movie was Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called She's the Man.
Yes, that is a good movie.
I love that movie so much. I always have. If you ask anybody, that's my favorite movie. I literally know every word to it. So if we were to sit here and watch it, I would quote the entire movie because I watched it with one of my friends a couple of weeks ago because it's now on Netflix. Finally. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be annoying. And even though I tried not to, I literally was quoting it because there's so many lines. I love a good movie where you can
one-liners. It's like Talladega Nights, Shake and Bake. I don't know what to do with my hands. I can't
stand that movie, but there's so many things like I know, like if you ain't first or last, and then like you hear about Ricky, you know, so yes. And I love, what's another good movie? My mom's favorite movie is Sweet Home Alabama. That's a classic.
Movie. Classic.
Let me think. Oh, a movie that is overrated or overhyped that you watched and just weren't impressed with. I have a couple. So I've never watched Dirty Dancing.
I haven't either.
I used to work on Lake Lure and where they filmed part of it, and we literally had like 6 or 8 copies of that movie because people would come rent it because they wanted to be around, you know. Never seen it, don't feel anything, like I don't want to watch it. Another one is Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Never seen that one.
You know, but you hear about it all the time. Watched it, y'all. That was the most bland movie. But I have also, I'm trying to think of, what's one?
I'm trying to think.
There's a lot of classic movies that I've just never seen. I don't know if I would like them or not.
Okay, here's a hot take. I don't like Princess Bride.
I watched that like one time.
I watched it once with my ex-husband, and I didn't like it, but then all of my friends said, oh, it's just because you watched it with him. It was like a bad vibe.
What's it about again?
Like this grandpa walks in and starts reading his grandson who's sick this book, and the book is the movie, but it's like Sunshine. Well, I don't even know the main character's name, but she gets kidnapped, and it's all about them saving her. But it's so, I don't know. I just don't like it.
There are certain movies too that, in my opinion, are way too long. Okay, here's another one. Titanic. I watched the Titanic movie one time, and it was like, okay. The thing is, that movie feels like you're watching 17 hours worth of a movie, and also, I know that everybody has talked about it before, but honey, he could have fit on that daggum door. Movies like that are so stupid. Like they literally made it off the ship, blah blah blah, made it through rigmarole, and you mean to tell me that he's gonna be frozen? Like, to me, that's stupid. Like, I don't do that.
To me, I have a hard time watching movies because I could binge watch a whole series.
Me too. I don't want to watch Girls all the time.
All the time.
Literally.
Gilmore Girls.
Yes, I've literally know every
show of all time.
Exactly. And I literally know every word to every episode.
Watch a whole movie. I would rather watch 4 episodes of a show.
Correct. Short episodes, because once it starts, that's why this podcast episode is probably going to get broken down because, okay, favorite TV show of all time other than Gilmore Girls because that's just a classic. Favorite TV show. You know what show is good? Seventh Heaven.
I missed that show.
You know why it got taken off? It's because the dad on the show got caught doing like bad things or something, and so they took it off because of what he had done.
Why didn't they just kill his character off or something?
No, I'm saying the reason it doesn't play on TV
anymore.
Oh, well,
that's right. Like, it doesn't.
Reruns don't play anymore because of what the dad in the show did, and so they took it off the air completely. And I'm like, well, that really sucks. I mean, I guess I understand if he was still getting royalties or something, but it's like, cut him off.
Yeah.
And before every episode say, we don't condone the things that this actor did.
Yeah, because that was a really good show.
That show is actually because it was the dad was a preacher, and then the kids all had different, it was a
Ashley
very
Simpson
good.
was on that show.
That show was
Jessica
really
Biel.
Good. and they had the clear telephone. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Like that
I had a purple one.
That used to be the thing.
But yeah, I think, again, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Let me make sure this is still going.
Probably New Girl. If I can't pick Gilmore Girls.
I'm going to still talk while I'm plugging this phone in to make sure it doesn't die. I actually watched I started watching New Girl. Okay? Started watching New Girl. I don't know if that started charging it or not. I guess we'll see. Started watching New Girl, but the thing is, like, shows that have a lot of seasons, sometimes so I actually stopped watching New Girl. I was like obsessed with it for a while, but then it just kind of became like, for some reason, what's her name, the main character?
Jess.
For some reason, she started getting on my nerves. I don't know why.
I'll say, like, Gilmore Girls is hands down my favorite show.
For sure.
But New Girl, I can turn on while I do other stuff. Like, I'll be on the phone with my mom or whomever, and I just have New Girl on in the background. But if I'm watching Gilmore Girls, I want to watch Gilmore Girls.
Oh, really?
I just love it so much.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, Gilmore Girls is all that for me. So I can actually watch it, even though I wish Netflix could tell me how many times I've watched Gilmore Girls.
Oh, it's so much.
No, because, I mean, literally it's on repeat. So Gilmore Girls is a show that I can actually watch, even though I know exactly what's going to happen and literally the words. It's a show that's in the background, and it also is what I sleep with the TV on, and that's my show.
Oh, see, I can't sleep with the TV on.
I've also started watching, keep in mind, there are TV shows that I've binged, like, what's the show? Breaking Bad. Other shows, but that's when but like, I've started watching King of Queens. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And that show's hilarious. Like, I love it. I watched Everybody Loves Raymond for a little bit. Like, this is at night.
Yeah.
But then, but a good show that starts out a little quirky, but then once you get into it is Young Sheldon.
I've never seen that.
So so it's
Big Bang Theory. Like
I do not like Big Bang Theory. It's kind of weird. But Young Sheldon is, Sheldon. I was like, what's his name? Sheldon as a kid. And it's really good.
Oh.
Like, to the point where they're coming out with the last season, and I'm kind of upset. Like, it's weird. That's mine. Also, I love trashy TV.
Yeah, see, I don't watch reality TV.
So I don't usually.
Like, you and Danielle watch.
No, the other Danielle.
Oh, she is our Bravo queen.
See, I used to love Below Deck. Well, some of it. And then I take a break from it. But then she got me watching that one show, which I'm not going to say because that's what the last podcast was about. And I watched it because there were certain times where I was like, this is stupid. But there was something that was going to happen. And so you had to,
Yeah. Well, she started me watching that. I don't remember what it's called. Where the people go to the island, but they don't know that it's a dating show. Anyway.
Oh, is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where the triangle and they talk to.
No, not that one.
Oh.
This one is like they think it's a dating show, but then they get there and they realize that they can't do anything physical.
Yeah. And they have that triangle that talks to them.
Yeah, it's like a little.
Hello, welcome. Y'all lost $10,000.
Yeah.
That show's good.
It is good. Is it Love Island?
No,
it's not. It's hot, something hot, isn't it?
I don't know, but I love that show because it's like, hello,
you've lost $3,000 for kissing.
Someone broke the rules, and it's like, cuckoo. Yeah, no,
I think I've only watched 3 episodes.
And there's another one that's really good, and I can't remember it, but there's only like 2 seasons where it's, and if y'all are watching this, yes, it's 2 seasons, I think, where there's 20 people, 10 girls, 10 guys. They've gone into extensive like details about their perfect match, whatever. So each person has a perfect match. And in order to win the $10 million or the $1 million, Lord, $10 million.
$10 million.
I'd be like, sign me up. They have to, by the end of the show, I guess at the end of each week, they pick who they think it is. And for each perfect match they have, a beam of light shows up. And so by the end, to win, they have to have 10 beams of light, but they only get 10 chances. So what happens is they don't know. So let's say if she was a boy or I was a boy, whatever. If we think we're each other's perfect match and we sit together, like, let's say there's one beam of light. Well, we don't know if it's us or everybody else. The only way you can do that is going into the truth booth or whatever. And you can they do that. They vote in a couple once a week. If it's not a match, then basically you need to explore other options. But there's people who like fall in love, and then if you are a perfect match, whether we actually connect or not, if people thought that we were, you get sent off to like your own honeymoon suite. It's very.
I might have to watch this.
No, it's actually very good because like there was one couple that they were in love, like they were determined. I think because I was curious, looked it up, and they were like still together. They weren't a match, and everybody, the whole entire house was pissed because they refused to look at other options. Yeah. So
but here's the thing: just because you're perfect on paper doesn't mean you're perfect in real life.
Exactly. And so, the show, like, obviously you're there to win the game, and they were like, I get it, but they were like, who cares about the game, blah, blah, blah. And so then they put the guy with the girl the next week who they thought, and they were a perfect match. And so they had to go to their own honeymoon suite for the remainder of the game. And so each week they see him at the matchups. And she was like, yeah, this kind of sucks because I'm stuck with someone who doesn't even want to be around me. And I'm like, oh, oops. And so, like, they were curious, like, by the end, are they going to be in love? No. They had started, like, communicating more, but no. And I'm like, that would suck.
It really would. There's not
so
much.
If you're watching this and I'm one of those people who I want to watch something that is binge-worthy. I'm not one of those people who, like, for example, recently I watched a show that I was recommended, and it was god-awful, but because I had to finish it, it wasn't my thing. I want to watch something that's binge-worthy because with TV, there's not a way for me to physically not do anything, kind of like a book. With a book, I could take it with me wherever I go, and I'm like obsessed with it. But TV is a little harder. So if you have any binge-worthy TV shows or movies, please let me know. Oh, there was a movie that came out on Netflix. Wait, what kind of movies do you like?
I like all kinds of movies.
Hold on.
I watched a couple movies a couple weeks ago that were all really good, but I don't remember what the names of them were.
Somebody texted me and okay, hold on a second. Anyway, sorry. But okay, next topic. Okay, you know what? Because we've been podcasting for so long, we're going to break here. This might be 2 or 3 episodes already videoed, but so I'm going to break for here because whatever. We may or may not make another episode. Who knows? But remember that I'm going to put the links below if I remember to do it, and make sure you're following me or us on social media because that's where I do the giveaways and stuff. And also I have a TikTok that I posted one video to. So if this is the end, well, this is going to be the end of this episode for now. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Danielle,
Thanks for having me on this impromptu episode.
Literally.
I hope the microphones worked out. Oh, wait, these aren't the ones that you got.
Those microphones might go back because I have no idea what was going on.
I don't know what happened.
I bought a set of microphones just before we end for sure. I bought a set of microphones that were supposed to be like, they were like for pop, blah, blah, blah. Because y'all see, we're just rigging it over here. I have no idea how to work them. It don't make no sense. So anyway, thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. Once again, make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube and podcast platforms and also following us on social media because trust me, you don't want to miss a thing because it's going to get good.